Swashbucklers, you're listening to Under the Crossbones, episode number 146. My name is Phil Johnson. I'm your host for the show each and every week. Thank you for tuning in and telling your friends and visiting sponsors and sending donations and all that cool stuff that you do that helps me keep the old boat afloat. I appreciate it. Here we are, episode 146. Fun fact about the number 146, the world's largest guitar has 146 strings on it. Total lie. Yeah, totally made that up. I couldn't find any cool facts about the number 146, so I thought I'd completely make one up, unless somebody now goes out there and builds a 146-string guitar, which seems difficult to play. But hey, try it. Why not? My guests on the show today, Prasad and John Howard of the Shark Alley Hobos. They are a pirate group from out here in California. Actually, not too far from me. They're in the up in the North Bay, and they do some interesting, cool stuff. And they are a not your typical pirate band. They're a little bit different. They don't do a lot of the festival scene. They more are a bar pirate band. A bar pirate band. I don't even know if that's a thing. But they do lots of different kinds of gigs, and they're really fun. And we're going to spin some music from them after the interview. We're going to talk to those guys about their history and how they came about their music and some of the background and some of the trials they've been through. Great interview. You're really going to have fun. So we'd spent the weekend, my girl and I had a weekend off. Oh my gosh, it doesn't happen that often. I had a weekend off. And so my girl and I, we went to Atascadero, San Luis Obispo, Pismo Beach, that whole sort of Central Coast beachy, watery area. And so that was nice. We just spent, I don't even know if we were there for 24 hours because we left at 1 in the afternoon on Saturday. We spent the night in a $250 night hotel, nice hotel. And then we ran around Pismo Beach for a while, and then we ate things. Because that's what we do. We eat things. Oh, do we eat things? I had we had a banana split that we shared, 3-scoop banana split, and then immediately went to a donut shop after, because that is how we do it. That is how we do it when we're vacationing. I also had an insane Cuban sandwich. There was nothing like a Cuban sandwich. If you've ever had a Cuban sandwich, I know there's a lot of you listening in Florida. If you've ever had a Cuban sandwich, you know it's like the ham and the pork and the pickles and the mustard, right on the. But this one had it had chorizo and it had ham and it had hot dog and it had lettuce and mayo and cheese and egg, and it was enormous. That is pretty much all I ate on Sunday, because that was all. It was on a giant torta, good 6-inch by 4-inch torta, huge, but really good. Where did we have that? It was a place called AJ's in Atascadero. So if you happen to be in Atascadero, California, go hit up AJ's and get the Cubana torta. You will never have to eat the rest of that day. That's how it works. But before we did that, I had to get my window fixed. Yeah, if you were listening a few months ago, also had to get a window fixed because it was broken after a show or during a show. And happened again in the same neighborhood. I should maybe not park in that neighborhood anymore is what I'm thinking. But had a fun show at a place called The Hatch. Really fun. Saw some comics I hadn't seen in a while. Got to hang out with those guys and talk for a bit. And it's just one of those things. It was like a workout gig. I was doing I think I did 10 minutes or something like that. And I made enough money to cover dinner. Happy night, just out having a good time doing some comedy. And I was walking out and I was like, yeah, a good night, fun night, good show, good audience, a little bit of cash, got some dinner, and broken window. Yeah, 2 broken windows actually this time. Now that I'm thinking about it, the little triangle windows on the back passenger door, on the backside doors, on the rear doors, the little triangle-y windows that you sometimes have, smashed both of those, yanked the back seats down, trying to get something out of the trunk, and there was nothing they could get out of the trunk. So needlessly broke my windows. And I have a car window guy now that does my windows that is like, seriously, again, because this is the 3rd time in the last 6 months he's come out to replace a window because I had to have my windshield changed. It had a crack in it. That was not anybody's fault. But then the 2 broken windows after shows, he was like, after he fixed these, he was like, I hope I don't see you again anytime soon. And then almost yesterday, driving back from Atascadero, driving back from the Central Coast, a shed, like one of those plastic sheds you get at like Home Depot, flew out of the back of somebody's truck. And had we been rolling by 15 seconds, not even that, 5 seconds earlier, that shed would have made contact with my windshield, and I would have had to call the guy today again. But fortunately, that didn't happen. So that was good. I'm so glad that didn't happen, because I spent a lot of money on windows this year. But if you do want to come out to a show and see what I'm doing and see me in places where hopefully my windows won't be broken, here's what's coming up. June the 26th, that is tonight. If you're listening to this, the day the show comes out, I'll be at Buzzworks in San Francisco, California. On the 27th of June, Bricks in Oakland, California. June 30th and July 1st, Long Beach Pirate Invasion. Yeah, that's right. It's this weekend, and I hope I'm going to see you there. They're doing the inductions for the Order of Leviathan there this year. I'm going to be a co-MC for the weekend. There's going to be so much going on. Come join us at the Long Beach Pirate Invasion. Make sure you come and see me and say hi. I'll be with the guy with the long hair and the red shirt. That's how you'll find me. On July the 12th, I will be at the Wild Horse Casino in Pendleton, Oregon. July 14th, the Funhouse Lounge, Portland, Oregon. July 15th, the Highline in Seattle, Washington. July 16th, Tony V's Garage, Everett, Washington. July 18th, at the Comedy Underground in Seattle, Washington, my favorite club in the country. And July 19th to the 21st at Joker's in Richland, Washington. A bunch of those are headlining dates and whatever, all up in the Northwest there. So just go to underthecrossbones.com, click on the tour dates button. You can get all the information. And if you are in California, Oregon, or Washington, I hope to see you at one of the shows. It's going to be a whole bunch of fun. Did you see the Johnny Depp interview in Rolling Stone this week? It appears that Captain Jack is a less extreme character than Johnny Depp. The dude has some problems happening, and I feel bad, but I don't. But it's problems of his own making. Apparently, he's drinking way too much. There are drugs involved. He's not being careful with his money, despite the advice of his advisors, who also may be embezzling from him. What a mess! It's a really good interview. He does not do a lot of press, and so if you're curious what's been going on with old Johnny D, there, go check out the Rolling Stone interview. I'll try and link it up in the show notes here, too, at underthecrossbones.com/146, so you can get a link to it there. But boy, I hope to see him come out of it, because he's got a little too much Hunter S. Thompson going, and not enough, like, I don't know, maybe some Edward Scissorhands would just, like, mellow it out a little bit, like, just quiet, just sitting and cutting hair with Scissorhands. Something. He's got to do something, because the dude is in bad shape. And apparently there's still a 6th Pirates of the Caribbean movie to be made. So we'd like to see him be in good shape for that, because if he's not, it's not. That's what we think. Yes. So anyway, a really interesting, bizarre, strange interview. You can check that out. That's in Rolling Stone, just came out a couple days ago. And I'll link it up again in the show notes at underthecrossbones.com/146. Would you like to play guitar? Johnny Depp plays the guitar as well in a band called the Hollywood Vampires. I don't know if you knew that. They're fun. It's Alice Cooper and Joe Perry and Johnny Depp and a drummer and a bass player. And it's a fun band. They do a bunch of covery kind of stuff. And I'm hoping, actually, that Joe Perry and Alice Cooper, having been through all this stuff already, will help Johnny get it together and sober up a little bit. I think that would be, because I know they're both like hardcore sober dudes now, especially Alice. Alice, way hardcore sober. So I'm hoping maybe they'll do a little, what do you call it? Where you, I don't know, I can't think of the word now, where your group of friends get together and tell you how they made you feel bad. Intervention. That's the word I was looking for. Maybe they'll do a little intervention on Johnny, because they're going out on the road here pretty soon. And so if you happen to see the Hollywood Vampires coming through town, it's a fun show. I've seen some video. I haven't seen them live yet, but I'm hoping to on this round. But like I said, speaking of guitar, would you like to learn how to play the guitar? Because I teach the guitar. That's one of the things that I do. And I have a free thing for you called the 30-Day Guitar Challenge. Even if you've never picked up a guitar before, this will have you learning 3 songs in 30 days with just 10 minutes of work each day. I've broken it down to super duper baby steps, and it's super easy to get these 3 songs under your fingers. Like I said, even if you never touched a guitar before. So that's the 30-Day Guitar Challenge. To check that out and sign up for free, go to underthecrossbones.com/guitar, and you can check that out there. If you're enjoying the show, come join us over on Facebook, facebook.com/underthecrossbones. On Twitter, we're at undercrossbones, no the. And do make sure that you are subscribed to wherever you listen to podcasts, whether that's Apple Podcasts or Stitcher or Google Play or Podcast Addict or whatever it is. And don't forget, if you've got one of the Google Alexa devices or you're an Android user, you can just go, okay, Google, play Under the Crossbones podcast, and it will spit us right out for you. Super nice like that. If you want to help support the show, that would be awesome of you. Go to the support page, check it out, underthecrossbones.com/support. You can leave a little donation in the PayPal box. You can click the Amazon banner, buy yourself something nice, and let Amazon support the show. Or if you want to be a sponsor, that's cheap and easy too. Again, go to underthecrossbones.com/support. Okay, let's get into this interview with Prasad and John Howard of the Shark Alley Hobos. Like I said, really interesting, kind of different kind of pirate band. They're not as... I don't even know how to explain it, honestly. I'll let them explain it in the interview, and there's lots of bonus extras in the show notes. I'm going to give you the video for their version of When Doves Cry. Yeah, the Prince song. It's cool. We're going to have some Alex McMurray stuff in the show notes. You'll hear him get mentioned and how he works into the whole thing during the interview. So do come over to the show notes after you listen. It's at underthecrossbones.com/146. And I'm going to play a song from them after the interview as well. All right, so here we go. Here it is, Prasad and John Howard of the Shark Alley Hobos. So I originally came across you guys because I saw your video of your Prince cover of When Doves Cry done in a sea shanty version, which I'm a huge Prince fan. And of course, we know about the pirate thing. So it was completely up my alley. And it turned out it was up my Shark Alley. Oh, man. Did I have to do that? I didn't have to do that.
Oh, man, we're going to use terrible.
That. Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the band, because you guys are not strictly a pirate band per se, but you are a sea shanty group. How do you kind of feel, where do you place yourselves within that genre?
I think that sea shanties are work songs, and pirate songs are sort of bragging songs and drinking songs, and I think that like they're a good match, mm-hmm. Maritime songs, are fun to sing. They have kind of a camaraderie to them automatically because they were work songs.
Sure.
And then the pirate element, gives you a little bit of like a flavor of a limerick to it,
Uh-huh.
And I think that's where the two meet in between. You take a sea shanty and add a dash of limerick to it, and you get a piratey feel to it.
Nice.
They're easy to learn, too. They're pretty straightforward. Don't need to rehearse it a lot.
That's true. Yeah, now, before we started recording, you mentioned that you guys don't rehearse a lot. How do you manage to get away with that and still sound good?
The songs only have 3 chords, and they're usually verse, chorus, verse, chorus, verse, chorus. So it's up to the person who's singing it to remember it, and then a lot of the songs are familiar to the audience, like Drunken Sailor and Blow the Man Down, so... Even if they don't know all the sea shanties, if we lose them with doing something like Blood Red Roses and everyone kind of starts filing away, then we'll come back with Blow the Man Down and everyone will come back and sing along.
Okay, interesting. So how did the band come together? Because usually most of the bands that I talk to on the show, they were like pirates first and then they become a band. And how did your band come together?
Well, we had always had a great love of pirates. I think all of us individually were fascinated with the sea, whether it was from Jaws or Pirates of the Caribbean.
Mm-hmm.
And then, but it was kind of 2 separate aspects of our life. We had our music, which we did, which was more kind of in the rock and roll vein, and then our love of pirates. And then my brother and I were in New Orleans, and we saw a musician that we liked do a full sea shanty set. And we went, hey, we could do music and pirates, and 2 of our favorite things. And so we came back, and we all worked with different musicians. We got them all together, and everyone liked the idea, and we went and played our first gig, I think, about 10 years ago.
Interesting. Yeah. So you were taking the guys that you were playing rock music with, and you were like, let's do some sea shanties then.
Yeah, and there's a blues musician who lived in Oakland, Steve Gannon, who was from England and partied with members of Pink Floyd, and he was kind of our rock and roll connection.
Okay.
He also added some kind of that pirate flavor. He had that, British accent. Go, all right, guys, let's play this one. We've learned this a long time ago. It's a skiffle.
You had a voice like this.
Yeah. Hey, John, we know who we need. John Howard, someone to play slide guitar because, sound great.
Yeah.
So what kind of early gigs did you then do under that new sea shanty pirate guys?
I think one of the first ones was, I mean, Forbidden Island has got to be one of the earlier ones, right? Which is in Alameda.
Okay.
Tiki Bar's natural habitat for a pirate band. Yeah.
Yeah, and then some private parties, and then I sort of feel like, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, Shay, I sort of feel like we were in the studio really almost before we were gigging.
Okay.
You know, that's one of our favorite places on earth, and one of the members, Dave Bell, has this studio in Richmond, and we all gathered there. We'd been there many times to record other music. And we all gathered there and began to put some of these songs together as tracks. And then you have a calling card, right? Then you can go out and start to get live shows.
This
Sure.
is back in the day when CDs were still a thing.
Right.
Yeah.
I remember handing out sample CDs like crazy. Yeah. When you changed gears like that, and the reason I'm asking this is when I changed gears from playing rock music into doing comedy music, I found that it opened up a wild amount of new venues and new audiences and things like that I otherwise wouldn't have had access to. What kind of changes did you notice in the people at your shows and the places that you were playing that maybe you hadn't played before?
I think we lost all our original audience by doing this. There was this, I think, except for the band members who would come and they're the wives at first, and now the wives don't come. But playing in a bar kind of setting, where there's a lot of people drinking, and we hand out lyric sheets with the choruses.
Okay.
And when we first do it, when everyone's sober, everyone kind of looks at us like we're invading their privacy and we're trying to sell them something, which we will later on in the show. But we hand out the lyrics for free, and as we start singing and they drink more and we drink more, the audience starts singing along, and it's kind of nice when there's the right vibe when people are singing along with the songs and everyone's enjoying it. It's a really cool show.
Yeah, and I think that most people abhor audience participation. You know, like you're like, oh, right. God, don't make me now this side of the room, now this side of the room. You know, most people kind of shy away from that. But I think that at our shows they see that there's 6 or 8 of us on stage all singing along with each other, and you figure, oh, okay, I can do that. You know, it doesn't feel as separate from what the band is doing, you know. So I think that helps too.
Yeah, that's sure. I love that idea of handing out lyric sheets. That's really cool. That's something that I think other bands could probably take up as an idea, but there would be that resistance that you're talking about to it in some cases. But I think not only the amount of people on stage that you have, but also just the sort of general vibe that sea shanty type of music is meant to be sung by a large group. I think if it was a solo singer-songwriter up there, it might have a much smaller effect.
Yeah, I think so. And our band can vary from, we've done it with as few as 1 person and probably as many as 10.
Really?
On average, I would say 8. So when it's 1 person, it's got to carry a lot. And when it's 10 people, we sometimes outnumber the audience, which is also a way to get them to sing along because they feel intimidated by the number of people on stage. And I think over the years we've figured out like what works and what doesn't work. What doesn't work is what happened one St. Patrick's Day when my brother saw someone who wasn't singing and singled them out.
Oh yeah,
and
right.
Told them we were going to keep playing that same song, which was Drunken Sailor.
It was Drunken Sailor, yeah.
He said, we can play this for 20 more minutes, but we're not going to stop playing until you start singing along. And unfortunately, the person he was picking on was like we were playing at a senior, like kind of retirement home, and it was a 90-year-old woman trying to eat her corned beef and cabbage. And
oh my gosh,
in Rossmore.
It was a little awkward. So that didn't work. But what does work, we found, is if someone from the band, people aren't quite getting into it, and you actually, take your instrument, unplug it, go out into the audience, and sit at someone's table, and point to the lyrics and sing along, then they feel kind of obligated, and if you don't get beat up, it works pretty well.
Right. Oh, that's really funny. A senior home kind of thing. I'll usually only do that if it's a guy, and usually a guy that is larger than me, so that when I'm screaming at him from the stage, sing, which I've been known to do, everybody knows that I am the only reason I have that power is because I have a microphone in front of me. But it's almost like anything else where you have to fire up with that. You can't fire down with that to attack somebody in the audience. One night I did it. I I was trying to. I think I was just doing some crowd work with the lady in the audience. And she was not responding, and I said something about, oh, great, I picked the one deaf person in the audience. Turned out she actually was deaf.
Oh,
and
nice.
Couldn't hear me. Yeah, it was fantastic. I was playing a casino, and I was like, well, all right, we're gonna just move on.
Yeah, at that point, you gotta.
But do you guys do a lot of that crowd worky kind of stuff in your shows?
Yeah, I'd say so. Depending on the crowd, when we're like in an intimate bar setting, we do that a lot more. When we're playing a kind of a festival thing, like we played at the Northern California Pirate Festival one year in the haunted Pirates of Emerson, the haunted theme park. And when we were on a big stage that was the shape of a ship, so it's the best stage we ever played at.
Yeah.
But the audience was like very far away, and it was kind of teenage kids running to the next haunted house, and we were kind of the background music. And what are your memories of that, John?
Yeah, for sure. That's what Pirates of Emerson was like. Whereas if you play at a place like, the couple of smaller venues that we've played, like Forbidden Island or the some pubs or some the Fireside, then everyone is right. I mean, you're next to the bar, so like you're able to interact, and we've added a lot of fun, more troupy things. Instead of just being a band, sometimes it feels a bit like a performing troupe as well, which is fun. So we're certainly not beyond hats and other costumes, and as much of that stuff as you want to push in, this makes it even more accessible. I think it just makes it more fun.
Sure, yeah, and so let's talk about that for a second, because I was looking on your website, and the pictures of you, I don't know how recent those pictures are, but you don't do the full pirate get-up like a lot of those types of bands would do. What was the decision-making process there to have a different kind of look that is not as piratey or even as sea shanty-y? That's not a word, but you know what I mean.
Well, we only go full pirate when it's in our contract, like we had to with Pirates of Emerson. It said, you have to dress up as pirates to get paid. Which case we dress up as pirates.
Sure.
But and we all, I think if everyone looked in their wardrobes, I think half of our wardrobe is pirate clothes. But I think for those theme parks and for kids' birthday parties, we bring out the full pirate gear.
Okay.
And and then the only other requirement we have is that everyone has to wear some sort of hobo thing. So over the years, we've done a bunch of different T-shirts, ranging from our standard one to our Prince Tribute T-shirt. And so everyone has to wear something hobo, or they're ridiculed on stage.
Okay, what does the Prince Tribute T-shirt look like?
It's just our hobo logo, but purple, shiny purple. And unfortunately, we printed out a bunch, and that was very popular. Like, we've always had terrible luck with merchandising, so we had gold ones that had the gold logo, which is the skull with the crossed hobo bags, and then we had the purple one, and we ordered the purple one in extra large, and the gold one in women's sizes, and it turns out that not a lot of extra large men want to wear a shiny purple T-shirt,
right?
And they want the gold one, and the women all want the shiny purple one, and they don't fit into XXXL. So we're stuck. We have a lot of extra large purple T-shirts.
That's where you go, oh, you wear it as a nightgown. I've used that excuse many times with the women. So when you go to a bar show, why do you not go full pirate get up?
Well, I think also we're playing. We play. We try to give tribute to lots of maritime traditions. In addition to just a pirate thing, and so if you want to play music from the movie Jaws, which we do, it's a better fit, I think, if you're wearing a T-shirt and boat shoes and a ratty Old Navy hat. And sometimes we'll play music that is more like like Jay mentioned New Orleans before, that has that kind of a vibe to it as well.
Okay, cool.
And I think there's been a happy medium of enough Jolly Rogers and references to our favorite maritime traditions that it all hangs together pretty good.
You look kind of like a band of modern pirates, maybe not the traditional 1700s pirates, but I don't know, John, whenever you show up to a gig, you look like you could have just stepped off a boat to me. So I always feel like he looks full pirate. And we have I think the one that the band likes to wear is the Hobo work shirt. So it's like a Dickie shirt with our Hobo logo, and everyone is put their own little patches on it and kind of individualized it. And I think
that's cool.
Like if pirates had become like merchant marines, that's kind of how we look.
Okay, yeah. And I think it's a much more subtle version of it that also probably if you're walking into a bar gig that is going to be less strange and intimidating to the patrons sitting in that bar who may not be aware of what they're in for that night, because if a bunch of pirates just walk in, they might be, what the hell is this? I'm leaving now. I didn't come to a costume party. So I think,
right, exactly.
Yeah, I think it's good for that too. But it is a much more subtle look that still gets the point across. So that's very cool.
And we're less likely to get beat up on the way back to the car carrying your instruments at 1 a.m. dressed as pirates than
right.
kind of maritime merchant marines.
It's easier to defend yourself without a giant floppy leather hat.
Yeah, my huge boots slow me down quite a bit. I mean, they're like knee high. They've got high heels, and I can't run in those.
Yeah, because at 1 a.m. there's always going to be the guys like, "Hey, there, Captain, what's your face? I get you."
Yeah.
Right. I don't want my blouse to get ripped.
Yeah. Although it does have blood on it. How did that happen?
Well, anyway.
But I think too, when we're going, like we usually in the set break, we'll go around and hand out some download cards of our latest singles and some
nice
temporary tattoos and things like that. And if some of us have had a couple of drinks and there's a guy sitting there with his girlfriend and you're giving her some free stuff and talking to her, and then 1 a.m. you want to be able to run to your car as fast as possible, not be loaded down with purple shiny pirate t-shirts and hobo gear.
Right.
And swords and all that.
Yeah. So early on, when you started doing when you had the idea, let's do some sea shanty kind of stuff instead of what you were doing before, what kind of development process did the music go through? How much thought did you put into, well, how are we going to do these sea shanties to make it sound like us instead of somebody else?
Well, in true pirate form, when my brother and I were in New Orleans, there's a musician that we really like, a singer-songwriter, guitarist named Alex McMurray. And he kind of did this side project where he came into this whole sea shanty set. And so what we did is we went again and wrote down every song that he played and basically stole his whole set. And came back to the Bay Area where no one was really doing it in the rock and roll style kind of, and got all our band members together. And I think John Howard was there at the very beginning. What's your recollection of it, John?
About how to choose songs and how they go down?
How it kind of started, yeah.
I mean, I think one thing that they all have, aside from being kind of maritime themed, a good song for us has to have what we refer to as the gang vocal.
Okay.
Where at some point we are all singing together, way, hey, roll and go, or whatever it might be. I think those are that's the heart of just about all of the songs is the very large, somewhat coordinated, somewhat from the hip male vocal chorus. And I think all of the songs have some element of that. So if a song gets proposed for the set, you listen to it and you're like, that's a great song, but where's the gang vocal?
Okay.
I mean, does that sound right to you, Che?
Yeah, that's right. And so, I mean, when we were doing that in a Spinal Tap sort of way, we were writing down the set list on a napkin. And when we came back, we had the songs that we liked too, like when we heard Spanish Ladies again, that reminded us of Jaws that we all love. And so that was one of the first songs we recorded. And then, like John was saying, once it had kind of a great gang vocal chorus that everyone could join in, like Cape Cod Girls and New York Girls. A lot of these songs are about girls. All for Me Grog, songs like that. Sally Brown.
Yeah, Sally Brown. Yeah, they all have that. And that's what we don't print out all of the lyrics. We just print out that gang vocal thing so that everyone knows that at that point they're supposed to all sing way, hey, roll and go, or we'll rant and we'll rave like true British sailors, whatever that part where we're all singing together. That's the only part we print out.
Okay.
So that's how that goes.
How much cover songs versus original stuff are you guys doing? Because I know you do write your own stuff as well.
We do a lot of the traditional songs where I don't even know if the person who wrote it is known.
Right.
And then we have our share of cover songs. Like I said, sometimes we'll play an obscure sea shanty that we can tell we're losing the audience, and then we'll play A Pirate's Life for me, and that brings everyone back to their memories of Disneyland and things like that. So we have those cover songs. And then when we do a cover song, we try to do it in the sea shanty style.
Okay.
Right.
So you were mentioning When Doves Cry.
Right.
A lot of times, I think it's Johnny Bongo, our former bongo player who now plays guitar also, would tell the audience, we play songs from the 80s, the 1780s. So,
right.
It's always, and now we said, hey, why don't we do something from the 1980s? And I think we were at, Chris Franklin and I were sitting around. We'd always wanted to do just a Prince tribute band.
Uh-huh.
And so we started going through the songs on Purple Rain one by one, and we could fit almost all of them into some sort of sea shanty style. But When Doves Cry really kind of was like a march, and
right,
and then
like you're loading the hold.
Yeah, and then at the very end we started singing Purple Rain to the tune of Danny Boy, which seemed the lyrics fit in perfectly with that, and so we kind of tagged that on to the end, which meant that we had to get song licensing for When Doves Cry and Purple Rain.
Sure.
But when we do something, we go all the way, like with our Jaws album.
Nice.
Right.
Nice. And those Prince licenses they were much harder to get at that point. I think I had to get one about 3-4 years ago, and it was really almost impossible to get it. And now it's actually much easier because there's some tools on the internet that allow you to do that without that. But his licenses in particular are pretty difficult.
It was difficult, and it cost more money than we'll ever make selling all our CDs.
Sure.
but when we commit to something, we do it, just like the 300 extra large shiny purple t-shirts that we have.
Right.
Which sounds like needs to be sewn into a quilt of some sort now.
That's a good idea. Mat, or some sort of a sail.
A sail, yes.
A sail. There you go. That's it. So tell me a little bit about the Jaws album. What was that about?
So we all are Jaws fanatics,
okay.
And we watch the movies when we get together. We usually, even before we start playing, we'll recite a few lines from Jaws and compare scars. And
right.
So my brother and I, a few years ago, had gone to do a songwriting course with Ray Davies from the Kinks.
Uh-huh.
And one of his assignments was for us to do a song about a movie that we liked, our favorite movie.
Okay.
And my brother and I had been sitting close to each other because we were nervous. We were there with one of our songwriting heroes. And he saw this, and he likes to make everyone kind of out of their comfort zone. So he went, I want you to do a song about your favorite movie, but Jay and Mike, I don't want you to work together. I want you to be separate. So we both went our own way, wrote a song, and we came back, and they both ended up being about Jaws. And so he was kind of stroking his chin going, I find this very intriguing that you two would both write about this. What I want you to do is go back to the United States, tell your band to each write a song, and I want to see a whole production. And so we went back and told everyone, and we thought maybe we'd get 3 or 4 more good songs, but everybody wrote a great song about it. And so we put them all together in kind of in order. Each one had its own take on a different aspect of Jaws. One was kind of thematic. John Howard's was about Quint. We had one about Mariel
Shark
Moffat,
not working.
Heart. Yeah, the mechanical shark. And we had one from the point of view of just even the mayor. The mayor got a song.
Nice.
And so that was and so we actually performed the whole thing a couple of times, haven't we, John?
Yeah. I think we've done it a total of 3 times.
3 entire performances, but we realized that we probably need to we want to maybe do it a little more theatrically.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
When we had done one of the Pirate Fests, we were sandwiched in between a belly dancing troupe, so we thought combining a belly dance themed Jaws dance with our original Jaws music would be interesting, but
yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
No. We did, however, enter the Alameda 4th of July parade last year.
Okay.
With a life-size great white shark, with all of us dressed as various cast members, including yellow barrels.
Okay.
That was another labor of love. I think John built that shark at, I think it was 25 feet long. It was life-size.
It was.
It was on wheels. It was dangerous. It was going all over the place, crashing into crowds of screaming children who were running for their lives.
As it should be.
And I think we were playing Show Me the Way to Go Home, following behind it dressed as John was Quint. I was dressed as Brody. We had the mayor with his anchor jacket on.
Yep. Yep.
That was a highlight of last year for me.
It was fun. Yeah.
That's
actually
hilarious.
the highlight was John Howard's clam chowder afterwards. That was good.
Can't beat a good
right.
cup of
That's
clam
necessary.
chowder.
Nope.
So
No, you can't.
how much when you go in to do an album, how much of that sort of conceptual forethought do you have, or is that sort of an outlier with that one?
Well, the first one was all our favorite, kind of our classic sea shanties.
Okay.
Most of those are pretty well known, and that was like our first one. And then we played that set in various forms all the time. And then when my brother and I came back and we did the Jaws one, everyone got very focused, and the arrangements of the songs were much more complicated than the traditional sea shanties. But they all had that gang vocals, and then after that, that was our last one that we printed on an actual CD, and then it was becoming harder to come out with albums. People weren't really buying albums, even online, downloading them. So we decided to do a series of singles. So that's how we got into the When Doves Cry, sea shanty style, and Sally Brown. And so we started releasing just singles with some artwork. We have an artist that works with us, Ken Jacobs, and he does all the covers for us based on what we tell him the song's about. And so it's just been fun to release some artwork and a song, and then play that song live. And when we've been writing original ones, we still write them in that style where we have gang vocals, and one person will usually write it, and then everyone will come in and sing the gang vocals.
Nice. Yeah, I've opted for releasing singles too, because to spend all that time on an album and then you put it out and 2 weeks later everybody it's mostly being ignored because everybody that knows about it has already listened to it, and so yeah, I've opted for singles too, although not as many as I should be putting out. I've been lagging, but that's great. So tell me about your latest single, A Hobo's Life for Me.
So the latest single, so my brother and I came back with the idea for the band in 2010.
Mm-hmm.
And then a couple of years ago, my brother developed a brain tumor and still played with the band up until a month before he passed away.
Wow.
And so this song is a tribute to him, and it's kind of from his perspective, talking about each member of the Hobos, kind of talking about how my brother always liked to was the musician between me and him. He was the professional musician. I was forced to get a day job to support our music habit.
Mm-hmm.
And so the song's basically from his perspective, singing about each member of the band, telling that, it's great to sing, but, go do this, go hang out with your family, go practice law, go do all these other things, and I'll be the kind of wandering musician.
Nice. That's great. And it's a really great song. I enjoyed it quite a bit, and I'm going to spin it after we're finished talking in the show here so that everybody else can hear it as well. So
yeah, that song went over better than some that, for that one, with each verse about an individual hobo, and they would come in with their instrument. So it kind of built as we went along. We talked about the bass player, the bass would come in, the drummer. And originally on our first album, I think is Chicken with is Nice on our first album?
I don't think we recorded that one. We play it in our set.
That was one where we did it. Each person had their own individualized. They wrote their own verse. It was a Liberian folk song.
Okay.
Yeah.
We heard some in New Orleans, and each one of us did a verse about our wives.
Oh yeah.
And for some reason, never made it onto the record, I guess. And maybe that's the reason why our wives don't come to the shows anymore.
Right. What would you?
Yeah, they weren't very. I think only one person wrote a very sweet one, and everyone else's was kind of something that
piratey.
Yeah.
A little piratey. Yeah.
Yeah, it's the same reason my girlfriend doesn't come to my gigs anymore, because I talk about her quite a bit in my show, and she's just like, I'm not coming anymore, because people always come up to me after, is that joke really about you? Yeah. She's like, I'm just gonna stay home. That's great. So how much of that story about that song do you tell when you perform it live? Do you tell the story about your brother and everything?
We haven't. We just recorded it, and I don't think we played it live yet.
Oh, okay.
No, we haven't. Not yet.
I think it'd be a good way, because most of the people that have come to see us knew us when my brother was alive and playing, and he was really the leader of the band and chose the set list and designed the set list. And since he passed away, we kind of divvied up his roles. One person now will do the set list, but every time we do a show, we always miss him, particularly during the songs that he would sing.
Sure,
right.
That's
but it would be good to tell that story.
Yeah, I think it's a very touching story, obviously, and it'll be slightly out of character, which I think will lend it even a little more gravitas in what you're doing there.
Yeah, the next one that we're recording is about his ex-wife, which is also got a story behind it, but not as
Sure.
nice.
Yeah.
So, where can people see you performing in the next few months? Do you have gigs coming up?
Oh, yeah. So, well, Friday we're playing at Urbano Cellars, which is a small winery in Berkeley.
Okay.
We're playing 3 sets there. I think we start at, what time do we start? 6 or something? Maybe
5
earlier.
or 6, but
5 or
there's
6.
meat
early.
involved, so
Yeah, right. And those places, they don't have licenses to stay open too late. But we'll play 3 45-minute sets there.
Nice.
We've played there once before. It's really a fun room to play in because it's
acoustically very interesting.
It is. Yeah, it is. It sounds good in there.
Giant wine cellar.
Yeah, cementy but not too muddy, kind of cathedral-y. It's good. And then on the 4th of July, we will be performing on the USS Hornet.
Neat.
After the parade in Alameda.
That's very cool.
That's so cool. Right?
After the parade is better than after the puppet show. That's for sure.
That's certainly for sure. Right. We told them. Hobos first, parade second.
Where are they going to have you on the Hornet? That's a very large ship. Are they going to have you out on the deck or indoors in the hangar?
Is there a plank on the Hornet? I've never even been on there. I feel like we're going to be in some corner, but
no, there's a gangway that goes into a large. It's a museum at this point. So they've got it fitted out inside for you to play in. I'm guessing they're going to have us inside because the deck is a little weird. I don't think it's entirely. You walk on it only very narrowly to get to other parts of the tour. If you've ever taken the tour,
That's true. Yeah.
So I have a feeling they're going to set us up inside.
Okay. Yeah, because it's got that huge cavernous middle opening that you walk into first in there. Yeah. So, that should be really cool. And that even just the regular tour of the Hornet is fascinating. It's a really great
fun,
place. Yeah. And it's one of those sort of hidden gems here in the Bay Area that people never really think to go check out.
I don't know why we didn't think of playing on ships earlier. It seems like a good gig for us. Some of those bay cruises to have a sea shanty band.
Oh, sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I guess one of our future projects, which we've always talked about, is to bring sea shanties back because we feel like it's kind of dying. Like everything comes in cycles, and I think maybe there'll come a time, maybe during our lifetime, when sea shanties come back. But we're going to do something called a Shark Attack, where we get a big black van with our logo and the shark fin on top. Just go park out in front of a big concert venue, set up and start playing sea shanties until we're chased away by the police.
Nice.
Right.
Shark Attack.
And they also I had some friends who several years back they were hired by the ferry to perform during commuter hour basically. And so they would just go back and forth 4 times,
right.
And perform music on it. And that, I think that's something that the Shark Alley Hobos should pursue.
I think we could muster that up. We also talked about opening up our own place because John, as I said, is a terrific cook with his chowder. Open up a place called Hobo Hideaway and feature, more traditional sea shanty music. And we haven't quite gotten all the details worked out, like who's going to pay for it. But
right.
It's one of those things we always like to talk about at the end of the evening after we've had a few Mai Tais. And, one of the other things about sea shanties that's interesting that we didn't talk about was that a lot of them work very blue. You do comedy, so there's
sure
comedians that work blue, and then there's the clean comics.
Yeah.
The sea shanties can vary. Even Drunken Sailor, which kids know, has some very dark and blue verses.
Certainly.
And I think that might be what got us banned from the Northern California Pirate Festival.
Really?
They were doing a Buccaneers burlesque ball.
Okay.
And I think we pulled out our dirtiest sea shanties, and I don't know. I don't think it went over that well because we were never asked to come back.
Really? And you did it at the burlesque ball? That seems. That seems.
I'm not sure if that's
odd.
the reason why, but we like to think that's why.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
you guys stink.
Yeah. It is a better reason. My band got banned from ever performing at Christmas in the Park in San Jose for exactly the same reason.
See, but a pirate band getting banned for playing sea shanties from a pirate festival. I don't know.
Right. What kind of pirate doesn't use bad language?
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Especially if you were doing the nighttime event, I would think it would be more acceptable there. But
and for kids' birthday parties, it never goes over well. But we changed the lyrics. We substitute. We say milk instead of whiskey. And
right.
A lot of different substitutions in some of those songs. But some of them were surprisingly horrible. Like when we go and we look, now online you can look for all the different versions of a song. There are some versions that are like, send shivers up your timbers from reading what they're about.
Yes.
Not very politically correct. And
sure.
Well, they are from the 1780s.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. That stuff you have to be real careful with these days. That's interesting. I hadn't really thought about that, but I know there are some pirate bands that work super, super clean, just like comedy. They work super, super clean. And then there's other ones that definitely will push the limitations of what the audience is willing to accept. And personally, that's the way I like to work, but it does get me in trouble sometimes as well. So where's a good place online for people to keep track of what you guys are doing?
So if you go to sharkalleyhobos.net,
okay,
we lost sharkalleyhobos.com to a Japanese makeup company somehow.
I know.
If you go to sharkalleyhobos.com, it's Japanese makeup and skin products, but sharkalleyhobos.net, which we thought net, like a fishing net.
Sure.
People remember that. Sharkalleyhobos.net has all our new singles and all our gigs. And if you follow us on Facebook as well, Shark Alley Hobos, we list all our gigs, and our new music is available there too.
Very cool. Excellent.
A lot of it for free.
Nice. And if you're really into Japanese makeup, that's where the .com comes in.
Yeah. Someday we'll get that back.
Yes.
Someday when Hobo Hideaway makes it big, we can buy back.
That's right.
SharkAlleyHobos.com.
That's right.
Maybe we can get the merchandise too.
If we could just slap a Hobo's logo on the makeup, maybe that's where we could start making money.
There you go. See? It's a big market out there for that. Well, thanks, guys. This has been super fun. I'm glad we made it through our technical difficulties, and please tell Chris I'm sorry. Sorry we couldn't get him on this one, but maybe we can do it again sometime.
All right, thanks
for having us.
You bet. And there it is, friends. That is my interview with Prasad and John Howard of the Shark Alley Hobos. If you want to find out more about what they're up to, go to sharkalleyhobos.net, right? .net, like fishing net, like you would use in the sea, not .com, which for some reason is Japanese face products. The Japanese do weird things, man. So anyway, sharkalleyhobos.net, and you can find them on Facebook at Shark Alley Hobos as well. What did you like it? Did you learn stuff? Did you find things that you thought were cool? Come tell us about it over on Facebook, facebook.com/under the crossbones. I know the name of my own show. I really do. Facebook.com/under the crossbones. Come on over, leave us a little post. Let me know what you learned or what you liked about the show, and we will go from there. All the show notes are going to be underthecrossbones.com/146. We'll get you that When Doves Cry video over there. I got some Alex McMurray, the guy that they said they stole the playlist from. I got a song from him called the Ballad of Captain Sandy about his time at Disney World in Japan. It's hilarious. It's a really funny song. We are sponsored today by Pirate Radio, the Treasure Coast, WKKC-DB, playing the best music of today's hits and yesterday's classics, and Pirate Radio Talk, playing the best pirate shows, including this one, Under the Crossbones, 24/7, all commercial-free. To listen, just go to pirateradioTheTreasureCoast.com for the music station, or you can get the Pirate Radio WKKC-DB music app. That's the app for your phone. Or for the talk station, go to pirateradiotc.com, or get the Pirate Radio Talk app for your phone. And of course, you can also get them on Alexa. If you just talk to your phone, go, "Hey Alexa," or "Okay Google," those things, you can tell it to play Pirate Radio, the Treasure Coast, everything. We're just going to be screaming at our appliances soon. We're going to be going, "Refrigerator, open," because we'll be too lazy to actually just pull it open, and then we'll "Refrigerator, add eggs to the shopping list," and then your refrigerator will talk to your Alexa, and your Alexa will order the eggs from Amazon, and then a truck with no driver will pull up to your house, and you will go, "Door, open," and the door will open, and the robot will set the eggs on your counter, And then you'll probably still have to go pick up the eggs and take them from the counter, put them in the refrigerator, because somehow they haven't gotten that step together yet. But that's the future, right? So to go talk to the little electronic box sitting on your counter and tell it you want to listen, tell it that you want to listen to Under the Crossbones or Pirate Radio, The Treasure Coast. All right. So we have a song to play. Oh, by the way, it's all brought to you by iTreasure Radio, the very best digital media from independently owned stations at iTreasureRadio.com. That's the home base for Pirate Radio. And so we got a song. We are going to hear a song from the Shark Alley Hobos called A Hobo's Life for Me. Now, this is the one that they talked about in the interview that is about Che's brother who passed away. And knowing the story behind it, very touching piece of music. And it's a great song, even if you don't know that story. All right, so we're going to listen to A Hobo's Life for Me. Check it out.
1, 2, 3, 4.
There was a sailor boy, his name was Mikey Lee. They say he held his first guitar when he was only 3. I'll live a life that's free, a hobo's life. It'll be a hobo's life for me. He charted his own course, then he set to sea. A doctor, a lawyer, those things I'll never be. I'll live a life that's free, a hobo's life. It'll be a hobo's life for me. He gathered up his crew from places near and wide, sang his songs from port to port, his brother by his side. I'll live a life that's free, a hobo's life. It'll be a hobo's life for me. Squinty had a voice, a talent that he saw. Sing with me whenever you can now, go and practice law. I'll live a life that's free, a hobo's life. It'll be a hobo's life for me. Jackson, he was down in the bottom end. Get a wife and change your life, we'll still play on, my friend. I'll live a life that's free, a hobo's life. It'll be a hobo's life for me. Bongo banged his drums, swimming in his dram. Of all the crew, just Bongo knew what happened in Japan. I'll live a life that's free, a hobo's life. It'll be a hobo's life for me. A barber by his trade, Mr. Seamus and his grin. Keep good time while drinking wine, shave whiskers from my chin. I'll live a life that's free, a hobo's life. It'll be a hobo's life for me. John Howard wore a beard and played the slide guitar. You ride a tutu, make 'em swoon, I'll meet you at the bar. I'll live a life that's free, a hobo's life. It'll be a hobo's life for me. The crew, they had a home at the port of Dumpster Dave. Record these songs and tell my tale with pennies that I saved. I'll live a life that's free, a hobo's life. It'll be a hobo's life for me. Hobito was not young, but still a cabin boy. You lost my dog, but that's okay, I still will you employ. I'll live a life that's free, a hobo's life. It'll be a hobo's life for me. The man behind the lens, Bloody Pisser is the name. Preserve our hobo history and take some of the blame. I'll live a life that's free, a hobo's life. It'll be a hobo's life for me. A mortal wound it was, now it won't be long. He told his men with hanging heads, you all must carry on. The crew, they gathered round as he slipped into the sea. Farewell to our captain, Mikey Lee. I'll live a life that's free, a hobo's life. It'll be a hobo's life for me.
And that's our show for today, kids. Thank you once again for tuning in. I always appreciate it. If you want to find out more about my guests, the Shark Alley Hobos, go to sharkalleyhobos.net. Remember, not .com. That's not in English. You won't be able to read it. sharkalleyhobos.net. And, of course, you can find them on Facebook as well at Shark Alley Hobos. Just stick it in the search box. That's our life now. That's how we find everything. Stick it in the search box. We've got some great shows coming up next week. James Masciarelli, author of Beyond Beauport. That's a fun one. The week after that, T.F. Wright, who is the co-creator of The Pirate's Fate, which is a digital novel, I believe is what the correct term is. It's kind of a game, kind of a novel. It's kind of a choose-your-own adventure. And we talk about some stuff that we have never talked about on this show before, so be sure to tune in for that one. Week after that, Michael Lopresti of the Rogues Armada. Yeah, that's going to be fun. And we're coming up on 150, episode 150, which is going to be Dave MacArthur from Pirate Radio of the Treasure Coast, right? Because that's fitting. That is so fitting. And, of course, you can get all the show notes for this episode, including the links to the Shark Alley Hobo stuff, the song from Alex McMurray, so you can hear what he's doing, the When Doves Cry video, a whole bunch of extra cool stuff in the show notes this week. So go to the show notes at underthecrossbones.com/146. And I will see you next week with loads of stories from the Long Beach pirate invasion. If I don't see you there, I'll see you next week.